What if the person everyone in Fromville is counting on to save them is actually the one who keeps destroying everything? That is the question I have been sitting with since Season 4 Episode 5 dropped, and the more I dig into the lore of this show, the more uncomfortable the answer gets. Because right now, the fan consensus seems to be that Jade finally woke up. He had his mushroom trip, he saw the visions, he figured out where the children are buried, and now he is ready to be the hero. People are celebrating. And I am over here saying, hold on, read the room. Everything this show has been laying down for 3.5 seasons points toward one very specific conclusion: Jade is not the savior of this cycle. He is the problem. Stay with me on this, because by the end of this video, you are going to see this character in a completely different light. Let us start with something the show basically told us directly, because From is not always subtle when it wants you to notice something. Jade has seen visions since Season 1. Strange images, a Civil War soldier, a man crushed under a boulder, a man holding a human skull filled with blood. At first these looked like random horror imagery, but the show confirmed in Season 4 Episode 5 that these are not random. These are past incarnations of Jade. These are versions of himself from previous cycles of this same nightmare. Every single one of them went through what Jade is going through right now. They came to Fromville. They started piecing things together. They got close to the answer. And here is the part that matters: every one of them was killed, not by monsters, by the townspeople themselves. Think about what that means. The creatures in this town have ripped people apart for years, but Jade in every single cycle was not taken out by the monsters. The people decided to kill him. Regular human beings who are already trapped in the most terrifying situation imaginable looked at this guy and decided he was more dangerous than everything else trying to eat them. That does not happen without a reason. Now let us talk about Christopher, because this is where the whole theory really starts clicking together. Christopher was Jade in the previous cycle. The show confirmed this at the end of Season 3. He and Miranda were reincarnations of the same two souls who have been looping through this town over and over again, trying and failing to break the curse. And when we first hear about Christopher from Victor, the old man who has lived in this town since he was a child, he describes him as warm, funny, good with kids. Christopher was the kind of person who made Fromville feel slightly less like a death trap. People liked him. Then something changed. Christopher got obsessed with the symbol. The same symbol Jade has been fixated on for multiple seasons. He started getting strange, darker. Miranda, who was his equivalent of Tabitha in that cycle, became scared enough that she hid her children from him, not from the monsters outside, from Christopher. She took Victor and his sister Alois to a root cellar and told them to stay hidden somewhere Christopher would not be able to find them. The next morning, everyone in town was dead. Victor was the only survivor, and the strong implication throughout the series is that Christopher was responsible for that massacre. Now here is what the show also tells us. Christopher had been visited by the boy in white who told him that to save the children he would need to go through the bottle tree. Christopher refused and got angry. He rejected the path that might have actually worked. What happened after that? He apparently went on to do something terrible enough that the townspeople killed him for it. Sound familiar? Because Jade has been following almost the exact same arc. He found the symbol, he became obsessed, and now after his mushroom trip, he is convinced he alone knows the answer. Let us go back to that vision of the man holding a skull filled with blood. This image showed up early in the series and was always treated as disturbing background noise. Jade sees creepy things, sure, moving on, but now that we know those figures are his past selves, that skull takes on a completely different meaning. Skulls filled with blood are not exactly the imagery you associate with heroic acts. That is ritual imagery. That is the visual language of sacrifice. The show has already established that the original curse on this town was created through a child sacrifice ritual. A group of townspeople long ago killed children in exchange for immortality. Those children became the ghosts we see wandering Fromville. The people who participated in the ritual became the monsters. So when Jade sees a version of himself holding what appears to be a ceremonial vessel of blood, that is not a throwaway image. The show is telling you something about what that version of Jade was doing, or what he was about to do. Here is the theory that I think holds up under scrutiny. The ritual was never completed correctly. One child was spared, And because of that, the cycle locked in and keeps repeating. Jade keeps coming back, and at some point in every cycle, he arrives at the same conclusion: the only way out is to finish what was started. One more child, one more sacrifice. Complete the ritual, end the loop, everyone goes home. That is not heroism, that is a villain justifying atrocity with math. When Jade woke up from his mushroom trip and told Boyd he finally understood how to save the children and get out of town, the show framed it as a breakthrough moment. And on the surface level, it is. He found the chamber, he saw the bones, he has information nobody else has. But let us look at exactly what his vision showed him. He followed a younger version of himself through the woods, into Colony House, through a hidden door, and into underground tunnels. He found stone slabs, bones, a pit that looked like a grave. One of the ghost children was sitting in that pit, whispering to him. The child said a word, Anqui, which means remember. This word has shown up before. The children say it to Jade and Tabitha because they need them to remember their original purpose, to protect the children, not harm them. The children are calling them back to their original mission. But here is the thing, Jade did not interpret it that way. He woke up and immediately said he knows how to fix everything. He did not say he needs to protect anyone, he said he knows the path out. And the path he is now walking, alone, in secret, without telling anyone the full picture, that is exactly how Christopher started behaving before everything went wrong. The townspeople killed Jade in every cycle because at some point they figured out what he was planning to do. And whatever that plan involved, they decided killing him was the more acceptable outcome. Now here is where things get genuinely unsettling from a storytelling perspective. The Reddit theory that sparked this video ends with a simple warning: Ethan better watch out. And that lands hard when you look at the full picture. Ethan Matthews is Tabitha's son. He has always been a strange kid in this town, unusually calm for someone living through a nightmare, oddly knowledgeable about how things work in Fromville, connected to the weird mythology in ways that have never been fully explained. Some fan theories suggest he is the man in yellow, or will become some kind of powerful figure in the town's future. But right now, Ethan is just a child whose mother happens to be the reincarnation of a woman who, in a previous cycle, hid her children to protect them from the man who shared a soul with Jade. Miranda hid Victor and Alois from Christopher. Tabitha is Miranda. Jade is Christopher. Ethan is a child connected to the deepest mysteries of this town. If Jade has convinced himself that completing the ritual is the only way out, and if the ritual requires a child, Ethan is not just symbolically at risk. He is the most logical target in the entire story. This is either brilliant foreshadowing or one of the most devastating character turns in recent television. Maybe both. There is a specific flavor of villain that storytelling has always been fascinated with, and it is not the one who wants to watch the world burn. It is the one who believes they are saving it. The man who makes the hard choice, the person willing to do the unthinkable because they have calculated that the math works out in humanity's favor. Sacrifice one, save everyone else. This is the story From is setting up with Jade. He is not going to twirl a cape and announce evil intentions. He's going to believe with everything in him that he is the only one who understands the full picture, that everyone else is too emotionally compromised to see the solution clearly, that the responsible thing, the heroic thing, is to complete the ritual and finally end the suffering. And the reason this works as a story is that he might not even be entirely wrong about the mechanism. Maybe the ritual really does break the cycle. Maybe one child's death does set everyone free. The horror of it is not whether the plan works. The horror is watching a person who started as a sympathetic, confused, well-meaning character slowly arrive at the conclusion that a child's life is an acceptable cost. Christopher did not start as a monster, he ended as one, and From has been very careful to show us that Jade is walking the same road, one vision at a time. So where does this leave us heading into the rest of Season 4? Jade now has knowledge nobody else has. He knows where the children's remains are, he believes he knows the exit, and he has every historical reason to keep that information to himself because in every past life, the moment the town figured out what he was doing, they killed him. So he is going to move quietly, he is going to tell people just enough to keep them cooperative, and he is going to make decisions that feel reasonable step by step until the moment when the full picture becomes undeniable. The show has given us all the breadcrumbs, the pattern of deaths, the blood skull, Christopher's massacre, Miranda hiding her children, the townspeople killing Jade in every single cycle, the word Anghui begging them to remember their original purpose. Everything points to the same thing: Jade is not the answer to the cycle, he is the cycle. And the one person in Fromville who might be able to stop him if she figures it out in time is Tabitha, the reincarnation of the woman who hid her children last time. Let us just hope she is paying closer attention this season than Miranda was. Drop your theories in the comments. I want to know whether you think Jade can still be pulled back from this, or whether we are already watching the villain origin story play out in real time. And if you found this breakdown useful, subscribe and come back when episode 6 drops, because based on the trajectory this season is on, things are about to get a lot darker before they get better.